difficult to absorb a lot of times in Zoom meetings, especially when you're on too many of them. But my purpose here is to at least give you what is out there, and you guys pick and choose, but at least make an effort. Even if you get on for a half hour and then it's like, I can't deal with this no more, then at least you're getting something from it. And these are all relative to what we did this week with Ignite.
Okay.
Okay? Any
Okay.
questions?
No.
Okay. Alrighty, I am going to be quiet. Actually, I'm not gonna be quiet yet. We have, you like that, Aka, huh? I have that problem. I can't be quiet too much.
You're from Jersey. There's no way you can be quiet.
It's still better than New York, right, Julie? Okay, so
in the same.
yeah, it's not. Well, I was from South Jersey, so I was almost Delaware.
Yeah.
So we have Mike Maycramps with us, who is a member of the ALC in the Maryland office and Maryland office Market Center, and he is going to go through the marketing portion of the Ignite. We started with prospecting on Monday with Andy, and the difference between prospecting and marketing, but they all tie together: lead gen, prospecting, marketing. Some people think it's all one and the same, but we've broken it down so that you can really get small pieces and understand how each piece fits to the puzzle to get the whole picture. Okay, Michael, I'm just going to shut up and turn it over to you. If you could just give them a little bit of info about yourself and then get into the PowerPoint, would be great.
All right, let me try to get this squared away here. You guys have to excuse me. This is not my normal computer. I'm typically a Mac guy, and I brought this home from the office to operate as a monitor, so I'm not completely familiar with Windows, but Carol's going to try to navigate me through this. So, and I'm not an instructor, but I think everyone has something to lend to try to help us all along, and I think that's what's great about Keller Williams is there's not I'm going to hide my information, not share it. I think there's a great culture of sharing to try to make everyone better. And I figured if I can give you a couple tips, maybe you can pick up on a few things that's useful to you, then we've done a good job. So I started off, I say this tongue in cheek, I started off in real estate in '87, and I started off at Towson State University or college. And then I was into art, photography, and I thought, I kind of like real estate, I'm going to sign up for it. So I signed up for Gen Ed, but I also signed up for a real estate class, photography, psychology, and a marketing class. So I thought those are things that are interesting to me. So I took those the first year, did okay, and thought I'm going to go back, the Eastern Shore, going to go to Salisbury State University. So I went back there. I kind of got involved with the fire department in the area, and I never took my real estate test. So everything I had in the class, I was able to enabled me to go sit for the test, but I never did it. But I think the foundations of what I was going to do later with the photography, with the psychology, obviously we need that dealing with buyers and sellers, and also the marketing piece, that all came around. So I got a job full-time with the fire department in the late 80s, and I worked for 30 years as a firefighter paramedic, retired 2 years ago. The nature of our shift schedule is we worked 24-hour shifts, we had 3 days off in between. So that's when I hustled real estate. I was involved with real estate. I had a landscape contracting business. We did new construction, installation, shrubs, sod, irrigation, lighting, things like that. So I always had an interest in real estate, but not until I set for the test again, Ed Smith Real Estate School. A couple of you know Ed, he's passed on, but great teacher. Many people got their licenses through him. In '97, I finally got my license. So I got involved with new construction project in West Ocean City. I worked for Jack Burbage, who was Bayside Realty at the time, who's now Blue Water Development, one of the biggest developers in the area and certainly up and down the East Coast. So I started off sitting his projects, house lot sales, went to Bay Vista Estates, Ocean Reef, Deer Point, and it kind of evolved from then. So I was 6 years with him. Then I went into Ocean City in the general brokerage and went with Coldwell Banker. So when I was with Jack, we didn't, we didn't participate in the MLS. We were pretty much on-site project sales. When I went to Coldwell Banker in 2003, I was in, general real estate in Ocean City and, MLS, stuff like that. So I was on Dan Clayland's project team. And during that time frame, the building boom, I set 6 to 8 different projects and really got tuned into project duty. And ultimately, it's why I sit a fair amount of open houses. So that led up to Mark Fritchley Group with him for a couple of years, 2015 until 18. And then came over to Keller Williams when we kind of merged together. So that's who I've been with since then. So I've been with a couple of different brokerages, and I can tell you by far Keller has been the best as far as education, training, participation, help with other agents, and now the tools, technology, and things like that. So that's what brings me to where we are today. And I've really been interested in marketing, prospecting, which Andy covered on Monday. But I thought maybe I'd just go through some of the marketing things that I've done in the past, what works, what doesn't work, what I've learned from other agents, through reading webinars. I like to dive into things and really see what works and what doesn't work, and, keeping lead with revenue in mind. So I think that's it. I'm going to a PowerPoint presentation. There's a facilitator guide, so I'm going to kind of jump around. Carol's going to help me with the screen. So it may not be a smooth presentation, but like I said, hopefully you'll get some information out of it. So focus on today, growing your business, lead generate for buyers and sellers. Let me just look through here real quick. Okay, so lead generation, that could be any number of things, and prospecting and lead generation kind of crosses over. It depends on whether you're marketing for listings or you're marketing to deal with buyers. I think everyone has different skill sets, and you'll determine maybe early on the group of people you feel more comfortable working with. So prospecting and marketing kind of overlaps. And let me see. So Carol, do I just go through all these one by one?
No. Let me get you into the meat and potatoes. I'll go through these because they see this every class they've had. So they've already seen this 11 times. We can't run a business unless we grow the business. Can you go back to that slide for me?
Next one.
Go back.
Oh, back.
Okay. So we've talked a lot about lead generation, which flowed into prospecting, which is now flowing into the market your seller listings. Okay. So go to the next slide. Today, we're going to talk about marketing versus prospecting. Andy talked to you about prospecting, where to go, open houses, how to run his campaigns, where he focuses his energies. I've told you before, we talked about all the different methods of lead generation, and I asked you that you all select 3 that you want to commit to that fits your personality, fits your budget, and that you will give it a strong 6 to 9 months of tracking to make sure that you are getting the return you want. So it's return not only in dollars for commissions that we can track, but also return in activities and number of leads generated, and return for the investment of your time. So if you're constantly marketing and lead generation and prospecting, but you're not turning that into transactions, we need to look and see why things are happening. If you're lead generating and you're prospecting and you're marketing, but you're not getting leads, we got to see what that is. So all 3 of them together have to fit. So that's the marketing versus the prospecting. Andy got us through the prospecting stuff. Michael's going to get us into this, the marketing heavy. So now we can go to next slide, Michael. Okay, so now we're going to talk difference between marketing and prospecting. Prospecting is time intensive, proactive, and you usually see immediate results. And by immediate, I don't say if you call today, you will see leads tomorrow. I say you have to be consistent and regular and give it 3 to 6 months before you start seeing results. Anything you see before that would be great. However, I want to set realistic expectations because I'm a little not happy about those immediate result kind of thing, because to me, you guys are going to think you're going to go call this week and next week you're writing a contract. And life in real estate is not typically that. Can it happen? Absolutely. Does it usually happen? Not really. Michael, how many times has that happened to you? You do something today and you have money and deals tomorrow.
Every day.
Right. Yeah. In your dreams, right?
You know.
Okay. Prospecting, we talk about your heaviest investment is your time. In marketing, the heaviest investment is going to be your dollars. So you want to make sure you have a balance of that. And marketing is passive, meaning you're only responding to what's coming to you via your marketing. In prospecting, you're going out there and trying to make that happen. And marketing will give you long-term results. It will give you recognition, credibility. It'll establish your name in the marketplace because you are out there and you're visual. Prospecting, you usually are not as visual in different models, whether it be Facebook, billboards, things like that. Okay, the next one. We're going to think deeply. Go ahead, Michael.
Think deeply.
Think deeply about marketing.
Okay. When I do marketing, I kind of think like, say if it's a listing, I'm kind of think, well, who is the perfect audience for the listing? So prospecting and marketing and the way I do business kind of overlaps, but marketing for a listing is going to be different than marketing to attract buyers. And basically marketing, you are the brand. You're marketing yourself. Whether you're marketing yourself as someone that can list a property and the skill set that goes with that, or you're marketing yourself as a buyer's agent and the skill set that goes with that. So there is some overlappage. You take action, create, and post marketing materials in Command, which I've started on, and Courtney Richardson, who's helped me out, we work together on that. And I think we'll get into that later on with some of the designs and things like that. Daily success habits. Should I keep staying on this, Carol?
No, you're going to stay right on the deeply marketing. What I want to talk about are the pros and cons and the use of examining marketing methods. What Michael started talking about is true. Your listing, when you're marketing, and I've told you guys, we are not selling product. We don't own the houses. We're not car people that are selling the product, that we own the cars at the car dealership. We are selling a service. And that's what you need to project when you're looking for it. What Michael hit on and touched base on was you have to see, first of all, you need to know your purpose value, which we've done many times on this already. And we need to get back into that a little bit, and we will. But secondly, you need to know the audience that you are wanting to attract. Are you trying to attract buyers? Are you trying to attract people that want to sell? Or is your marketing really geared towards pacifying a seller because they feel like you need to do something else? I don't usually do that, because when they try to dictate to me how to market their home, I try to get back to them that, I have a plan. I laid that marketing plan out on what I do when we listed the property. And that's the plan that I find to be the most beneficial and successful in marketing homes for my sellers. So you want to really think about marketing. As realtors, the more you do, you put a Facebook ad on, you'll start getting 100 different people calling you or messaging you on Facebook. Use my service, do this, do that, buy this, buy. I mean, there isn't a marketing ploy that I haven't tried. And we've been on billboards, we've been on shopping carts, we've been, our Facebook, we've done social media, I've done newspaper, back in the day when that was the way we did it. And I can tell you, the bigger the dollars that need to be spent, the less return I saw. But what happened was, I can't say I ever got an ad. I mean, I never got a client from a billboard, but I can tell you that I got many calls about, I saw your billboard, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. So there's different kinds of marketing, such as we said for buyers or for sellers. Sometimes it's just to get your name and face out there. And I had somebody tell me a long, long time ago is your marketing plan should cover a couple bases. One, to get you recognized. One of the things he said was always make sure you use the same picture of yourself, because just like McDonald's, Kleenex, etc., they always use the same logo. They always use the same picture. I'm not saying take your picture and 15 years later use the same picture. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I have seen agents make the mistake of using different marketing pictures on every different thing, and there's no continuity. So people don't know if it's Michael Maykrantz from Keller Williams. Is it Michael Maykrantz? You know, where's he from? They don't know, because if you don't hone in and make sure you have a marketing plan and the way you want your agenda for your marketing, you will be spending a lot of money and energy and have no focus. Okay? So if you want to go to the next one, Michael, you're good.
So it's okay for some agents who've been in business like 40 years to use their high school graduation picture?
Or their glamour shots.
Yeah, it's like, man, that guy didn't look like that in 40 years.
How about when you put a picture and then when the people walk in and say, "Oh, you don't look like that," you know they're not trying to give you a compliment, but they're also saying, "Wow, I didn't think that was you," you know, because your picture is so, you know, not you.
It could go either way, right?
Yeah. You can take this, Michael, if you're good.
All right, so you want me to go down the marketing side?
The prospecting we already covered. Does anybody have prospecting? Any questions about prospecting? If you look at both these items, you are doing both. You will be prospecting and you will be marketing. For example, when you're doing farming, whether it's geographic or demographic, does everybody know the difference between the two? Geographic would be specific to an actual location around a listing and a development that you want to market to. Demographic is when you are looking for over 55 people. You are trying to maybe market a $1 million property, so you get a list of people with a certain amount of income, and you want to market out to them, because marketing in Facebook, $1 million, you know, a $2 million property, you get a lot of people, but you may not get it focused enough. Your events, your open houses, things like that, networking, purchase, your networks, your advertising, and clientele. So they overlap on both. Now, strictly marketing is a total different animal. That is where you go to put yourself out there. So, Michael, take it away.
All right, well, some of the things that cover the both category, you know, that's the topic of it, but then you may develop the marketing off of that. So say the geographic farming, you're going to geographically farm to a neighborhood where you have a listing. So then thinking deeply, it's like, all right, how do I do that? You know, do you do a preview for the neighborhood, a private preview? Hey, getting ready to list a house at so-and-so. We're going to have a private opening just for the people in the neighborhood. Bring your neighbors by, come and check it out. So that would be a geographic thing. And there's different things different ways you can do that. You know, you see them on the column to the right. Radio, TV, newspaper, stuff like that. Then the demographic, like Carol said, you can go and you can market to certain individuals, you know, the Generation X or, you know, the baby boomers, things like that. But as far as the advertising on the right, I'll just breeze through those. Radio, it's kind of an older advertising method. Not saying it still doesn't work, but there's newer things now that have come out that I think have proven to be a better return on not only your time or your money. You know, so let me just go through the TV. There's been some local agents that have had success, like BOC. I think you have Pam Price. I think Ryan Haley's starting to do some of that. And the thing with marketing is it's always got to be measurable. And what I mean is, you know, you always lead with revenue and always be testing. So when you go out there and you say, look, I'm going to run a TV ad, you've got to be able to measure that somehow in the terms of dollars. You know, what does it return to you? If you go and run a TV ad and it costs $3,000 a month, whatever it may be, you have to say, has there been a sale directly associated with that? Has it been, you know, name recognition? Like Carol said, people say, hey, I saw you on the billboard, stuff like that. So not everything will produce actual dollars back, but you want to try to measure that as much as you can with all your marketing. You want to know that if you're putting out $1, you want to try to get $2 back. Or like one of the bold things I watched yesterday, you're putting out $1, $2 may not be enough. Maybe for $1, you want to get $5 back. You know, maybe the marketing method you're using isn't producing the return that's desired. So you need to go and try something different. So that's one thing I've learned over the years is try things, be open, like Carol said, to try a variety of things because times change. I mean, when I first started in 97, you know, we didn't even participate in MLS. And the agents that did had a paper, black and white, you know, like a catalog that you could open up and you would see what listings are available. You know, there was no internet. There wasn't anything online. You know, marketing was pretty much mailings, newspapers, and the MLS guide. And if you had an interest in the property, you actually walked into a brokerage. Their marketing was their sign in front of their building. And that's how you did business. So those times have changed, and the marketing methods that have worked in the past may not work today, but there still are some tried and true methods that will work, and that's mailings primarily. So TV, it can produce a return, more like, hey, look at me, I'm on TV, but it may, you know, return other things. Newspapers, not so much anymore. I mean, I think the main thing with agents advertising as newspapers is to impress other agents. You go in the section in the middle. I mean, think about it. If you're not actively looking for real estate, why would you find yourself in the real estate portion of the newspaper? You're pretty much going to scroll through that section. Now, you may see a quarter page ad, things like that, and maybe some listing agents, you know, feel the need to put that out there, not only to show their face, but also for clients who may insist on it. I've had very few clients insist on newspaper advertising because the numbers show, and you always want to look at the studies to show that like less than 1% of return now comes from newspaper ads. People they're not reading newspapers like they used to, you know, and you get lost with ads. I mean, pick up any of the local papers. I mean, you're buried in with marketing ads from everything from restaurants to water sports, what have you. So is that the best use of your money? That's up to you to determine. Personal vehicles, I guess they're talking about people to put magnets on their vehicles and stuff like that. Maybe. I'm not that kind of guy. I don't like to be out there like that. You don't want to be a secret agent, but you know, at the same time, you've got to measure that. Is that help? Maybe that's good in your area. Maybe you work a specific area and, you know, people see you riding around, but not so much in the resort market, I feel, because you know, I deal mostly with sellers if I can. And so I'm marketing to sellers in different ways. Bus stop benches, you know, you have to, I don't know if that's even available anymore. And then you got to decide what side you put on, you know, because somebody sits in front of your thing, you're like, hey, buddy, move over, you're blocking my billboard or whatever. But it's something you could try. It may work in certain areas. Magazines, there are a couple of magazines, like I'll throw out a couple, like Coastal Style. You know, you may have a high-end property. I know a couple of agents who feel the need to put a full-page spread in there, and that comes at a cost, and there is some return. It's like, hey, I see your face out there. You had this $1 million listing on the water somewhere. That's great. That may bring you another listing of that value. But the thing I feel that's key with that type of advertising and most marketing is consistency. So you can't just throw that $1 million listing you have out there, one and done, really to nurture that along and to build name recognition and to maybe consistency is to have an ad net every single, not episode, every single
edition, right?
edition. That's the word I was looking for, edition. So that's the type of thing, but it comes at a cost. But you know, you have to have a trigger for people, a call to action. So, you know, maybe you put that up, but you know, you put in there, hey, for a free marketing report or to learn about what's happening in your neighborhood, things like that. So it's great to look at it and people are interested in the photos, stuff like that. But how to actually have them call you and actually generate some sort of activity off of that. Billboards, you can put your face up on a billboard. You know, billboards are different than they used to be. It used to be, you know, paper billboard. Now you've got the digital billboards on like Ocean Gateway. And I'm going to mention Worcester County because that's what I'm mostly familiar with. So I'm not trying to slight the Delaware agents, but there's billboards in both states, obviously. But the digital ones, you can get a ad on that at less money than you used to because you're only getting like a 30-second blip versus you're up there, they pasted you up there, you're up for the entire month. So that may be one way to build some name recognition, but once again, you have to measure that. And that's kind of difficult to measure other than somebody stopping you in the grocery store and say, hey, I saw your mug up on a billboard on 50 the other day. You know, I was driving 65 miles an hour and all I caught was a glimpse of you, but I saw you up there. So does that help you indirectly? Possibly. Would you be better off taking that couple $1,000s and doing a mailing? Probably. But that's up to you to make your own personal determination. Yellow Pages, you know, the Yellow Pages even still around. I mean,
Can I jump in on here, Mike?
What?
Can I jump in here? I want to jump in here a little bit.
Go ahead.
Carol. Okay, so what we're saying here is you have to, some of this stuff is really not the highest and best use of your money. Also, when you're newer agents, you don't usually have a listing to advertise. So what you do have is your personality and what your service is and what your value is. So in looking at, if you go to NAR, you'll see the stats of where buyers come from. And we talked about that the marketing is not about what you think is best. The marketing is to project what is going to be best and what it's going to pique the interest of those buyers or those sellers. You may like it and you may think it looks great, but if they don't react to it in the way that we want them to, then it's not doing us any good. So some of this stuff, as agents' egos and pockets get fuller, they will tend to do some of these things, is I think what Michael's trying to say. So
That's what I was trying to say, Carol.
so I can tell you that the main thing that you need to do is to develop a marketing plan that is consistent, regular, and measured. And by measured, exactly what Michael's saying. If I take my budget and I say, okay, with this budget, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then you measure it and see where you're getting the best bang for your buck, that's where you double down. Not spread it so thin that you can do $100 in each thing. You're better to be intensive in one and thinly spread throughout the others. And right now, what I see is the cheapest and best return is to be active in your presence online, in your social media, things like that. So what I'm saying also is do not get drug in to all these third-party companies that are trying to sell you business. You know, the easiest sell to make is to a realtor. Why do you think they keep calling you? Because you want to have more business, and they give you this presentation that looks like, oh, well, we had this or we had that, and they find one agent that says how many deals they got out of this particular advertising, but they didn't tell you that the agent's been with them for 2 years and have spent $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. So it's all relative. So with you guys starting where you are, and let's add in that horrible name, the COVID-19, okay? So COVID-19 has also taken us to a different place of where we advertise. And one of the best things that we have at Keller Williams is that in command designs, command marketing, that we can go in there with our smart plans and things like that. You don't have to pay for that. You've already paid for that as being part of our system. And the way they have created the Facebook ads, because we have the synergism of such a huge company, our pay-per-click advertising is technically pennies, okay? So if you could put an ad out, and I watch these stats when people post them and stuff like that, and I read into them, and some people I listen to, and some people, they just like to tout their own numbers and make them look good. But the ones that I respect and take back, and I look at it, and they're putting an ad out, and they ran it for a week and got 86 leads and got 8 people that they're working on. That's the kind of advertising I want to do, because that's the kind of return I want to do. So what is it that they're doing that I can mimic at a reasonable cost and get myself out there? So that whole list here that I'm looking at from 1 to 7, to me, is, I don't know how you guys feel, but to me it's overwhelming. And I can tell you, I can probably check off 85% of these things I've done. I did radio, I did TV, I did newspapers, I did vehicles. I didn't do benches. I've done magazines, I've done billboards, Yellow Pages. My phone bill when we were in the Yellow Pages was $2,200 a month, because I had to put an ad in the Yellow Pages. Grocery cards, did it. Moving vans, looked into it, and I thought it was too much liability, because I had a buyer that their seller's agent had a moving van, and he thought he was being a nice guy, and he let them use it to move, and guess what? There was an accident. Okay, what do you think happened? They tried to sue everybody. I'm glad I wasn't involved in it, because it wasn't my moving van. Pay-per-click advertising, yeah. SEO, does everybody understand what SEO is?
Search engine optimization.
Well, I knew you would know, Stephen. That's not fair.
Well, yeah. Basically, it's how high up can you get your rank on your Google, and really, people. I mean, there are other browsers, but people still today. I mean, let's just realistic. 95% of the people use Google. How high up can you get your click?
And what kind of suggestions would you make to help these agents increase their exposure in with SEO?
You don't want to ask me that, just because from being behind the dark curtain, there's stuff that's being touted today of how to get it up, and some of it's just bogus. It's people trying to sell money. But yeah. I will say this. I will say that if because the number one thing you're going to hear people to say today, oh, you got to start a blog, you got to start posting stuff, because that's how it gets you up. You know, I'm just going to back off it. That's another whole session. You know, at the very minimum, just get yourself, whether it's through Keller Williams or your own, at the very minimum, get yourself the URL and start interacting with the landing pages and with the people.
And I've also seen too, what helped me raise mine is doing just shots for Google. Like, I'm here at this place and taking a picture and doing a rating on a place, because now what that does is, and think about this, guys, if you go to a certain restaurant, and I know, again, we're in a different world right now, but if you go to a typical restaurant, a typical pizza place, or you go to the beach, or you want to take totem pole in the middle of Bethany, and you just do a little blurb about that, that will help and your engagement. And it also does exactly what the buyers and sellers are looking for. Do you remember we talked about the 80-20 rule of 80% of your prospecting should be based to the personal side of a person, the other 20% reminding them you're in real estate. So if you go out and you do these kind of things, it's going to help raise your SEO without paying somebody to promise they'll do it, but they don't always do. And it will eliminate a lot of expense. But not to mention that, if you go and you start interacting with business people, small business people, and interview them and things like that, now they turn around and they will promote you. Because when somebody's sitting there and they're asking about a realtor, they're going to promote you. So that's part of all this. If just like prospecting has 1,000,001 things, I suggest that you concentrate your efforts on no more than 3 of these. And some of them are very expensive that you may not. I'm still about direct mail as long as it's focused. I don't mail 10,000 pieces out, but I mail out at least 100 just sold and just listed cards and buyer participation cards. I always do that, because if I tell just 100 people on every deal and they each tell 5 people, I've met my goal of what I wanted to do. It also shows your activity in the area. Sponsorship. If your kids are in sports, you know, paying for a township, I mean for like a little league, paying for t-shirts, that will be really helpful, because now your name is there, or if you put a banner on the field, on the fences, then you're always going to be advertising. And it shows that you're local, it shows that you're involved, and it shows that you're active in real estate.
And Carol, and I will say this, if I was just jumping on this from someone, if I could encourage people, don't, because I've already been hit with it. I've seen, where I think Bright was running a special or home, I think it was Home Snap, basically for $100, we'll go ahead and we'll help get your SEO up. I tell people, if you've got the time just to sit down at night, read a book or two, go that route. There's so much you can do on your own to at least begin. And I will tell people is don't expect, there's so many, be careful the people say, hey, I'm going to have you up to #1 in 2 months. Even in one of the books I put in the link in the chat, just be leery of that. It takes time to get your SEO up, interacting, and, but stay away from the people who want to charge you a lot of money. Read a book. You could do so much more on your own.
And just remember, those people are salespeople too.
Yep.
Okay. That's what they're doing. They are selling a service that you sign up for as an agent in good faith. And then when they don't deliver their services, if you read the fine print, they didn't guarantee it. These numbers are not guaranteed, but they are projected. They are our average numbers. And I can guarantee you probably more than 95% fall below the average. But you signed up, they're hitting your credit card every month. I don't want you guys to spend money unnecessarily, because I've seen more agents get out of the business because they did not have realistic expectations of how much their earnings will be when they will start earning money on a regular basis. And they, out of desperation, buy into all these sales pitches to try to stay in the business. And before you know it, they've put so much money out that they need a great year to really recoup the money out, but they can't afford to stay in to make that happen.
And also, one thing to consider, always remember this. Google owns the algorithm. So what works for the industry today, there's no guarantee in 3 months, 6 months, a year from now that Google doesn't change the algorithm that changes, all of, if you pay someone to pay a bunch of money, for them to get you up to whatever rank. And not to mention the fact that, for prime example, there was a lot of companies that relied on getting their click-through to their website by whatever words they were using for queries and stuff. Well, as soon as Google started bringing out the one box, which if you all know the term, for those of you who don't, it was very much where, like, if you go and Google something, if you've noticed now, there's sometimes Google will have like a little square box at the top. Like if you Google a conversion or something, and immediately the answer's right there at the front. Well, Google just thought, hey, we want just to provide this service. Well, it immediately started hurting all the other people with their click-through rates, with their SEO. So that's why I tell people, be careful when people want to pitch you to sell you it. If you got just because there's no guarantee the algorithm doesn't change.
Okay.
And I'll get stopped.
I didn't want to hijack you, but
I'll take a nap. Let me wake up.
Okay. Let's go to the next. Let's slide.
Do you want to go in on online advertising, because I feel like that's important with the direct mail, just to touch on that?
If you want to go for there. Yeah,
Unless I'm running behind, we're an hour in already. I mean, am I running behind?
No. I'm telling you, I have great people here engaged, and we run until we're done.
That could be lengthy. Online advertising, I mean, like Carol said, I mean, this is the time to double down on these type of things, because you have a captive audience at home. And when people are home and they're on their iPad and they're looking at Zillow or Realtor.com or whatever, or social media, now is the time to put yourself in front of them. And it doesn't cost a lot of money to do that. And one thing from the beginning that if you're a new agent, you should take the time to do, set up that Google business profile with the information. Just like Carol said, if you're at a restaurant, take a photo, make a comment, things like that. It's constant work. Marketing, prospecting, it's every single day. When you get up all day long, you're thinking, how can I generate more business? How can I generate more revenue? How can I get in front of more people? That is part of your makeup as an agent, as a salesperson, is what can I do? So in the beginning, set up your social media accounts. Facebook's still king. Facebook's where it's at. Most people are there. There's Instagram. There's other ones coming through. I agree with Carol 100%. Agents are going broke, or they were going broke, paying for Zillow leads, Realtor.com, things like that. We are a target because they know when the market's good, agents are fat and happy, they're going to hit them up. Yeah, you're rolling $3 or $4 grand a month. No big deal, right? You're getting return with inquiries, but are you converting them and at what cost? You know, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. You know, you may, you know, I see agents all the time, you know, did 20 million, blah, blah, blah. Well, a guy does 20 million could literally put the same amount of money in the bank as somebody who did, you know, 5 million. It just depends on whether you are utilizing your resources and your money correctly. And the good thing about social media is by and large, it's free. When you start getting into some of the paid campaigns through command, things like that, it does cost you some money, but it's minimal. So the return is there, but you have to stay on top of it and constantly be aware of it. And same thing with the portals, you know, use what's free. You know, Zillow, Realtor.com, those things are free because of the associations. You know, you push all your listings over. So you can go on Zillow, some of you probably know this, you can download the app, Premier Agent, and you can shoot a video for free for a 2-minute video. It's a silent video of a listing, and you can shoot a 3D tour. These things do not cost you anything. And when you look on Zillow, which is where most people are, there's the Premier Agents, which are the ones that are basically paying to be on there at a lot of money. And then there's the listing agents. So if you are the listing agent, you're getting that for free. Utilize all the tools that these portals, these websites are offering to you to try to push your brand out there. You know, if you're a buyer, you're in a different situation, you may have to buy ads, but the social media thing, we're constantly put out whatever material. I mean, Courtney works with me. We put out restaurant menus. We put out a thing the other day, you know, show your appreciation for these people in your community that are working hard. You know, a picture of a sunset, whatever it may be, brand recognition. You are the brand. You are there to market yourself, whether you're trying to gain listings or you're trying to get buyers. You are the one who, you know, try to push yourself out there. So I think that's important, the social media aspect. So go in there, take the time, I mean, I hear agents today, they don't have a Facebook business profile. And there's some crossover. There's a school of thought where you use your personal Facebook account. You do the, you know, 80-20, 80% personal, 20% business. So you do picture this, this, and this, drop in a real estate thing. You can jump back and forth. I still feel it's valuable to have your agent profile, your business profile exclusively, because some of that goes into the command marketing and stuff like that. So you can cross over. There's some glitches here and there, but you can push some of your business profile posts over to your personal, and maybe somebody will share it. You can tag people. I mean, there's a whole science to doing it, but it doesn't cost money. It's just labor intensive. It's time intensive. But the more you get used to doing it, the more you get in the habit of doing it. Get a checklist, get systems in place from the beginning, which is tremendous. Courtney and I have been working on that. You know, it's hard to work on your business while you're in your business, or maybe it's the other way around. But basically, when you're running 100 miles an hour, you're going. You're trying to keep business, but you don't stop and look at your financials or your social media profiles or how you're doing things. You know, when you take a listing, this, it goes in sequential order. When you make contact with a buyer, this. Do those every time, repetition. Torque them if you need, torque them, that's not the right word. Revise them if you need to and make them work for you, because those lists will help you and the systems are in place and you can just replicate that as you go. And direct mail, I mean, direct mail is starting to become more effective. I think there was a period of time where direct mail maybe fell out of popularity because everyone knows you go to your mailbox years ago and you would have 20 pieces of mail every day. Now you go to your mailbox, you may only have 3 or 4. People are paying their bills online. You're not getting much mail in your box. But the good thing is you're going to stand out more. When you get 4 pieces of mail and the postcard or your mailing or whatever is one of the ones that somebody's receiving, they're going to pay more attention to it. And the same thing with postcards. And the graphics are important. You send a quality marketing piece out, you're going to build up your brand better because some will see it and say, look, they're doing it professionally. He or she is doing a great job. Look at the photos are top quality. You know, the stock is heavy. The photo of the agent is consistent. All those things have to go in your mindset when you're marketing either yourself or your properties. And like Carol said, don't spray and pray like some people do with, you know, listings. Be very targeted with it, geographically, demographically. In Ocean City, we have the advantage you can target buildings. So if you get a listing in a building, you can hit everyone in the building. And one of our scripts we send out is, recently listed so-and-so's place in the building. Many times properties are bought by friends or family of people that already own in the building. Meaning you're sending it to somebody who's already a unit owner, they see it and they're like, wow, another unit opened up in the building. I have a friend who's been looking to get in here and nothing's opened up. There's not a lot of turnover. I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to call them. That helps you. Then when you go to sell it, you can send out another mailing piece. You just sold the unit, whatever, for this much money. Somebody may pick that up as a unit owner and say, man, Mr. Smith over at this unit, he just got 350 grand for his unit. That's awesome. The last one sold for like 300. Or I'm an original owner. I only paid 150. I can cash out and get 350 for it now. So it starts to stir some interest if you geographically farm certain areas, and you'll develop your niche. You may get a listing in one building and say, man, I love this building. I'm doing great in this building, and you keep hitting it over and over. Or you may say, look, I'm going to go into a different neighborhood. I'm going to go out here and start marketing to a neighborhood where single family homes, and I'm going to develop a marketing piece for that. And I may send a quarterly newsletter, and I may do geographic social media posts targeting that specific area. So it's got to be very focused. It's got to be measured where you can try to equate that to dollars returned, and try it. Keep trying. If you send out 100 postcards in the building, you get 0 return. Try direct mailing. Try a note card. Try something different until you find out something that may work, and then double down on it. Like Carol said, you send a note card out and you send 30 pieces and one person responds. That's pretty good. That's really good. It takes you time. You may have to put it together, whatever. It can be labor intensive, but you look at how much you make on a commission nowadays. It's a lot. I mean, when Carol started, it wasn't a lot of money, because properties weren't that much money. And really over the years, the commission rates have not changed that much, mostly 5 to 6%. So you think about that when you're getting a property that's a 6% listing, and it's a $300,000 property, it's $18,000 commission. What if you hit both sides of that? You get the whole thing, other than the Keller split. When you get to 100%, that's all yours. That's a good return on money. You start measuring the time you put into it, the cost of the marketing materials, and you said, man, for $100, I got a listing that I generated $5,000 on. That's good. And that's what you have to keep in mind when you do any kind of marketing is it going to return the money and the time, and is it worth it for what you put into it, for what you get in return? What do you think, Carol? Next slide.
Next slide, honey.
Let's see here. How do you know where the customer is and how do you meet them there? Or you communicate value question in your contribution?
I could stop before we start that. Does anybody have any questions or any success stories on what they've used or anything like that?
Hey, Mike. So what do you use? What are you currently using with the times and all that, and that you're finding is cost effective?
When it comes to direct marketing, I'm finding the postcards aren't as effective as they used to be. You can do, a heavier stock, nice images, something like that, and that maybe put your face in front of more people. But I find direct marketing, as far as mailings, is producing the best return. And it does take a little bit more time. And I've started with note cards, and some of the old instructors, G. Dunstan, and there's a couple other ones. They say you should be writing a certain amount of note cards a day. And I'll give you one example of where a note card can make a difference. And if you send out a lot, yeah, it can add up. I mean, a good stock note card could be, 50 cents to $1. You got to put a stamp on it. You've got to put it together. You've got to find go through the tax records, the public records. But I took a listing for a place on, I'll use the street, 42nd Street. And these older folks had owned the unit for 30 some years. I was up there talking to them. It was a listing presentation. I got the listing. We walked down the balcony, looked at the ocean, the bay. I looked across the street. I saw this older building. It was a duplex, which is rare in Ocean City on the ocean block. It looked kind of run down. The trees were kind of overgrown. The decks looked bad. It had mold on the outside of the building, mildew. It just looked like it was kind of abandoned, like no one there. So I asked some people about it. What's the deal with that property? Oh, yeah, well, 30 years of history. They've looked at that building for, the building was there for 20 years. of the 30 years they've been there. Yeah, they rarely come down. You know, I see them occasionally. Somebody comes here, not a lot of activity. It's all right. I go research the tax records. I find the name. I send a note card, handwritten note card, which, you know, you've got to measure the time it takes that. Hey, you know, I saw your property in so-and-so on 42nd Street. You know, I market properties in the area. If you ever think about selling, give me a call. Sent the note card, didn't hear anything for 3 or 4 weeks, kind of forgot about it. You know, didn't have a database that I was tracking those things like you can do in Command. Lady called me, I was on the road driving somewhere. Hey, this is so-and-so in this place here. Do you send this to everybody or did you just send it to me? I'm like, which property is it? You know, because you send them out, you kind of lose track. 42nd Street. I'm like, yeah, I remember that. I said, actually, I sent it to you directly. I said, I saw your property, you know, had some people across the street. She goes, well, it's kind of timely that you sent me this because my mother died a year ago. My brother and I own the building. We don't use it anymore. You know, we're paying $12,000 a year in taxes, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I got the listing. It was a 6% listing. I got both sides of the deal from an open house. It was a $40,000 commission, $40,000. You know, on a, you know, it was a 6% listing. It sold for 700,000, more than 40. I had my Keller split then. I just reached my cap, but on the note card that took me very little time to do and to purchase and put there, a $40,000 return. Does it happen all the time? No. But if that happens once a year, once every 2 years, that's a good hit. So I felt that note cards, I feel note cards are effective on a return, and then direct mailing piece to the people in the building. That's what I'm doubling down on. And also the social media with the paid ads through Command. So that's where we are, Terry, as far as like marketing money and things like that.
Okay.
A great story. And that's happened on a couple different properties, and it's labor intensive, it's time intensive. But if you're brand new and you're starting off, ride the streets. That's what I do. I go out, and if I got a couple of extra minutes where I'm going to the office at the end of the day, I'll ride 20 blocks of streets. Look, oh, there's a for sale by owner. You know, oh, they're doing some work on that building. Oh, I see a guy I knew out front that's a contractor doing some work. Stop and talk to him. You'd be surprised where these things lead. Some of that's prospecting, which every day you got to be prospecting and marketing. But once you get going, you would not believe how it starts to snowball. You sell that property, then you send out a mailing. Somebody else calls you. You send an open house, you meet somebody. You start nurturing them along. Next thing you know, you get their listing. It just goes and goes and goes. I knew new agents, it's overwhelming. It's hard to start. You may not have a big database. You're like, where should I start marketing? What should I do? Everyone has a phone. You have hundreds of contacts probably. Courtney and I were at a seminar not long ago. They were talking about, you know, contacting a certain amount of people every day. I looked at my phone, I had 1,900 contacts. That's crazy. I probably had people's names and numbers, and I don't even know who they are. You get a call on a real estate sign, you put them in there, you put a note. But if you have a phone, you have the ability to start marketing to your friends. And now with Command, you can go in there, use Twilio, and buy the ability to text message people through the contacts on your phone. You can move them over. We haven't got into it. There's a lot of other stuff that we're doing, but it ultimately is on our long-term list. And you could start sending out specific text messaging to your people on your contact list on your phone. And the first thing I would start off with, if you knew, hey, so-and-so, you can custom design the smart plan. You know, we're not going to get into that a lot, but hey, you know, I haven't talked to you a while, just started in real estate. You know, hope you and your family are well. You know, it's a tough time or whatever. If you need anything, you know, give me a call. You may send out the thing. We've got one that says, you know, I realize that, you know, COVID-19 may affect some property owners, their property values. You know, here's a new app that I have. If you have concern about what your property values may end up being, this will allow you to search all properties in your neighborhood to keep up to date with it. You can send that as a smart plan and send that through direct text messaging or email to your prospects, your contacts, things like that. So that's a way to cheaply get involved without a lot of cost. It's your time, sweat equity, basically.
Mike, are you guys are you doing group SMS right now?
We are doing some. We just started getting into it. Like Carol said, I mean, there's a lot to Command. It's kind of really starting to grow quicker than it has in the past year. So we're testing a lot of those things. It takes a lot of time. Like I said, Courtney and I work together, you know, full time to try to get these things. And there's been glitches. Scott Leroy Marketing has been helpful. Sandy Green's been helpful. Just trying it ourselves, trying to research things. It is labor intensive, but the agents that are getting into it now, like me, like Courtney, we can share what we've learned, what's worked and what hasn't worked to try to help other people to try to save them time and money. So we have subscribed to the Twilio. We are starting to do that. I'm starting to get a return. I sent some out the other day to some clients. Hey, I just got this new app. I did have some responses back from that, which is good. It's a way to stay in touch, but that may be worth spending the time, or worse comes to worse. I mean, you could just do it manually. Go on your phone, copy and paste it, hit some people, sit there and just do it. And you'll start to gain some momentum and put your face out there, your name out there in front of people. And that's the goal. Don't be a secret agent. You want to have yourself out there. So when they think of real estate, they think of you. And that's the goal, is to be in front of them as much as you can, top of mind. And that's work. That takes a lot of work every day. Nothing makes you more, angry or upset or whatever you want to call it, disappointed in yourself, that you go on MLS one day and you look and see your neighbor listed their house. You're like, I just saw them 3 weeks ago. But the fact that you weren't in front of them every day, or you weren't top of mind, somebody else was, they got the listing. And that's why it's important to really get that momentum going and really try to do everything you can to try to stay in front of people, so that ultimately will lead to you generating more business.
Okay, Michael, go with these.
All right, cool. I think coming from contribution, that's a term you've heard over and over in the past couple of weeks, months. Keller's really pushing it. It comes from compassion also. Hey, I know times are tough, whatever. If you need anything, give me a call. You may not even, you're not mentioning real estate, although now you hear some people like Cody Gibson yesterday on Bold. We've passed that time maybe where, it's the doom and gloom, we don't see the end, that it maybe is the time again where we can maybe mention real estate without people taking offense to it and thinking you're there, for a hidden motivation to try to just get business. But I think we are coming out of that a little bit, and certainly coming from compassion, contribution. Hey, is there anything I can do for you? Hey, I got my own app now. I know people are worried about how this is going to affect their property value. Download this. You can keep track of what's going on in your neighborhood. It's branded to you. It's on their phone. It's a good thing. And branding, aesthetic, consistency, your marketing, how do you achieve it? Like Carol said, photos, things like that. And your leads generated from the marketing. And Keller is big on generating listings. And that's something I've always been interested in. And the best way to pick up buyers is through listings. Signs, undervalued. People call you from signs, but have a way to feel that. Here's a simple thing you can do. Go on your phone, set up your V card in your phone. So go in there under your contact and put every one of your social media handles or whatever it is. Put all your contact information in there and have that saved. When somebody calls me on a listing, hey, I'm in front of your property, blah, 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 give me some information. You go, all right, if you need anything, give me a call. Yeah, well, we'll call you. Thank you for the information. They're very non-committal. Get off. As soon as they get off, I share my contact information with them. Thank you for the call. Here's my contact information if you need anything. That goes to the text message in their phone based on the call that they've called me from. I save that text message and put their name in there if they gave me their name. A lot of times they won't give you a name. They'll say, hey, my name's John. So I'll put in there, John. I'll put in the notes, called about this listing. So if they do call again, I pick it up and say, oh, yeah, that's the guy I called from here. So that's one way to get in front of them, and then immediately turn around and go to HomeSnap. They're going to tell you to go to Keller, which is fine, but HomeSnap's on your phone. It's a great app. Pull up the listing and then share that with them. So they'll have the listing that comes up. They can look at all the photos inside. They can look at your video. That's all branded to you. And then you share your contact information. You push all this information on them from a branding perspective with your name and number, and also your marketing. And that's a cheap and easy way to start to get leads from a simple thing like a call off of a sign. All right. Think deeply. Gone into that. Carol, do you want to go on this a little bit?
Hold on 1 minute. I was doing something else.
Designs in Command.
Oh, go back one slide.
One more.
No,
You want to do
forward one.
action and creating marketing materials in Command?
No, the one that we were on before.
Do you know what?
Okay, right there. Let me get the full screen so I can see it better. Okay. Wanted to talk a little bit about your value proposition. All your marketing should have something that is creating value. It's not, hey, I want to buy or do you want to buy or sell a house? You need to have something that actually creates value that you're promoting. Coming from contribution, Mike already talked on that, and your branding. You can work with Scott Liveroy, make sure your branding is the same all the way across. That's really important. They are there to help you, and they're very helpful. How do you follow up on leads once you've generated from your marketing? Well, we all know what that is, right? We all know where we're leading to. Okay, next one now, Michael. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So now we're going to take action and learn about creating and posting marketing materials in Command. The next one. Okay. You all know that I am technology challenged. I know enough to be dangerous and get things around. So with Designs in Command, there is a class that's being taught. Let's see.
Every day.
Yeah, actually tomorrow at 9 o'clock, there is an actual class for designs.
Is that with April?
Yes.
I highly recommend that class. She is awesome. She knows her stuff really well, and it's very interactive.
Right. And that's what you need. You need somebody, you know, me, I just scratched the surface. Like I said, I know enough to get by, and I can't even say that I really know a whole lot about the design part of it. I've been more involved in the DocuSign and contracts and compliance and actual contacts and lead gen. This is something more on the creative side. You don't really have to be real creative. It's just you need to know how to do it. So I strongly suggest that you attend that class. Bridget was going to jump on here, and she said she was going to have a meeting, and then she'll get on here and she'll try to walk us through some of this stuff. So if we can, we'll keep going on this unless, Michael, you have something on this to do, or.
Yeah. I mean, I think this and some of the online marketing, the smart plans and the paid marketing, I think that's probably in here a little bit.
Yep. So what they did is they created templates. So a lot of it is just plug and play your own personal information, which actually automatically will come as long as you have your profile set up properly and things like that. And the only thing you have to do is change the address, the sales price, and the bullet points of what you're promoting on a property. So next screen. This is an invitation for an open house. So you put this out, and then you put it on Facebook, and you share it. You could even boost it if that was something that you wanted to do. Boosting on Facebook does not really get you a lot of response and interaction, but it will get you out to a lot of people. And one of the benefits that I have used, and you know, there's different trains of thoughts on this. I have used boosting for open houses, especially, and I do the states that circle us: Virginia, Maryland, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, and it puts me out there in front of thousands of people. So if I wanted to boost it for, let's say, 5 days before the open house, I create the event, I put this on, I create that post in Facebook, and then I boost it to those areas, and you can be specific to the areas that you want to send it out to. So, and then I put a budget on it. So usually if I'm going to do it for 5 days, I might put like a $35 budget on it. So it's like a $7 a day. And then it'll tell you what you can reasonably expect for the number of people you want to reach in that time. Sometimes if you boost it for 3 days for a higher number per day, you sometimes can reach more people than if you do it for 5 days at a lower number. So those are things that, and again, I'm not a guru with Facebook. I'm just very, I know the basics. And those are the things that I know for a business Facebook page. There is a class that Scarlett is going to be teaching, and she's really good on Facebook. So I think, to me, I don't need to know all the answers. I just need to know who to go to get those answers. And I think that's what I try to help you guys with, is I don't try to give you answers because my answers may not be succinct enough for what you need. But what I do know is where to go to get the information and where to send you to. So I don't ever want you to think that I'm not answering your question. I am answering your question actually in a better way than if I tried to give you information with the limited knowledge that I have on specific subjects.
They're saying that Facebook boosting is not an effective use of your money. The paid ads are definitely where to put the money. Research has shown that now, and that's new information. So
that's what they say. And again, it all depends on what you're trying to accomplish.
Yep.
If you're trying to accomplish to get it out to a broader base, that's what boosting does. But again, like I said, you do not capture necessarily people. So I have gotten messages off of that. People have messaged me. I have gotten comments, but you don't typically get a lot of that. But what it does is it does expose it. And when I give that traffic report to a seller and say, look, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when I only got 3 people through an open house, I show them, look, I had 3,200 people that saw your property, and 400 of them clicked through to the link to see what the pictures were and the video was. So we may not have gotten them into an open house, but we at least got into their home and put this information into their hands. So I use boosting for that purpose. I do more ads than I do boosting, but everybody's got to figure their plan.
Carol, may I ask a question on the boosting? Is that just the people that are in the geographic area that it boosted to, or is it, who does
Well,
it
it's in the
boost?
people, it will boost to the people in that geographic area.
Okay.
Unless somebody in that geographic area liked it, and then they share it to their database of 1,000 people, and it goes, viral from that point. You have no way of tracking that.
Carol,
Yes.
this is Ika. Actually, you can pick which were in the boosting on Facebook. You can pick the people, or where's the area. If you want to boost it like in New Jersey or New York, Pennsylvania, yes, you can pick.
Right, exactly. You can pick the areas where you want it to go.
Yes.
You also can pick, there's different demographics that changed. Before, you used to be able to pick like age groups and things like that. There's also words that you can put that they focus on. So if you have a property that's waterfront or beachfront, you could put those words in there as keywords, and people that look a lot for information on first-time home buyer or beachfront properties or beach homes and things like that, they will tend to focus on those people when they send the boost out. Okay, next slide, Michael.
in the page, in the book, it was talking about every marketing piece. You want to do that? The purpose of the marketing piece. What do you think can be improved? There's like 3 slides on different marketing pieces.
Just keep on moving through. Let's see what we got. These are, again, these are just different ones, different templates that are there, and all you have to do is plug in your information. These are all set up in your designs, but you have to be able to go into designs, and then you'll see the different ones. Michael, I'm going to ask you to unshare. Will you be in trouble if you unshare your screen and I share mine? Oh, wait a minute. Bridget's coming in here. We got help. The Calvary is here.
Stop
Hey,
sharing.
Bridget, you couldn't have came in at a more opportune time.
She's kicking me out, Bridget. Is she on?
She should be. I just admitted her to the room. She has her audio off. Probably talking to somebody on the.
Oh, hey,
There she is.
I'm here. Sorry.
There she is.
Okay, we were just going through designs,
Oh,
so it was perfect timing.
okay.
So-
Bridget, not for me.
For Bridget, not for you.
Not for you. I'll say you're probably like, nah, it wasn't good time for me.
No, no worries. Sorry, I had a board meeting that went a little longer than expected. So, for those of you that don't know, I'm on the board of directors for our Coastal Association of Realtors, and I'm the treasurer. So anyway,
Mm.
so I had to.
Okay. So Mike, what I was trying to do, Bridget, was Michael have him unshare his screen so you could share your screen. I was going to get into the designs a little bit, but you're much better at it than I am. So if I have him unshare his screen, my fear is I won't be able to get him to figure out how to go back and share it back to Zoom. So if you unshare your screen, Michael, your Zoom should be still down in the taskbar, but it will allow Bridget to share her screen.
It looks like that's what's happening. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So can you share yours now, Bridget?
Yep.
It got booted out.
All right.
That's Bridget's.
So I'm just logging into to my command. And I definitely have kind of played in designs now for months, and I use it for a lot of different things. And if you have not gone so far as to link your Facebook page, I would definitely encourage you to do that. If you need to know how to do that, just let me know, and I'll walk you through how to link your Facebook page. If you don't know how to do that, that's kind of important, because you're going to want to know how to do that in order to, if you create a design, you're going to want to for sure know how to do want to be able to actually post it on your Facebook page. There's two different ways you can post a design template onto Facebook. You can share it directly through command, as long as your Facebook account is linked to your command account, or you can download the image that you've created, and then you can go out of command into your Facebook and then upload an image. So it's completely up to you what you prefer to do. However, if I wanted to create a post, for those of you, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing you're going to see here is I'm in designs, and you see this menu bar up at the top. There's a couple different ways that you can, kind of navigate through the designs. If you go across this top bar up here, this is basically going to bring up for you your library of designs that you've created in these different formats. So if I did an email design or a landing page design or a social design, but if I want to create a new design, you want to go down here to this bottom right-hand corner where you see the little plus in the circle, and you want to click on it. Now it's going to ask you, what kind of design do you want to do? Do you want to do an email? Do you want to do a print? Do you want to do video, import, or social? Most of what I tend to do is social. And social being like, what social medium do you want to use? So what it now does is it's sort of thinking, and it'll change screens on you. And now you're going to get a new menu of all the different types of design templates available to you. And you can really, you could kind of get lost in this. The good news is you don't have to, right? You don't have to spend a whole lot of time in this if you don't want to. If a lot of their templates are pretty easy to be able to just use. So for example, I'll just show you a couple different ones. So when I first logged onto the Zoom, what you had up on the screen, Carol, was a market snapshot. Did you all create that, or was that part of the kind of?
That was part of PowerPoint.
Okay, all right. Well, since you were on that, let me show you how to do that one. Okay, So let me show you how to do a market snapshot. So what you're gonna do is under listings, you're gonna create neighborhood snaps. And what you're gonna do is you click on neighborhood snaps, and then across the top here, you see these various social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. I tend to use Facebook more so than others. However, you got to know your audience, right? You've got to know your audience to determine what you can do. You can create a design in every single one of these. However, you can just choose one. The difference being is if I click on Instagram, you notice how the algorithm is different. It's all been sized appropriately for that particular social media outlet. So now so if you chose Instagram, you could actually go and work within this template. And now when you go to post it on your Instagram, it's going to actually be sized appropriately. It's not going to be cut off or anything like that. So if I want to use a Facebook, but then I end up wanting to post it to Instagram, it's probably going to look a little odd because it's not going to be sized appropriately. So you just want to make sure that you choose the right outlet first. So let's just, let's pick one of these to use. So we'll pick this first one. Failed to initialize. Well, that's not good. I wonder why that is. I have no idea. That's odd. Oh, great. Look at that. I have no idea what happened there.
Same thing happened to me yesterday. I had to reload the page, I guess.
Really?
Yeah.
Good grief. Well, I was in yesterday at some point too, and it all kind of locked up on me. So I don't know if this is going to ask me. Oh, it did it again.
Yeah, and Bridget, one of the things to keep, it's been doing it too. And I think part of it, what's happening is more and more agents are starting to use the system. I think the technicians are also learning that they're going to have to scale up, I think, some of the servers. So it's a good thing in the sense that it shows you a lot more agents, I think, are using it, but we're getting some load issues and some bugs.
Got it. Well, quite frankly, what that just told me was it said, put in your KW username and password, but actually it really wanted my email and password. So anyway, all right, we got past that. Okay, so this template, there's actually not a whole lot of things you actually have to change here if you didn't want to. The couple things that I did right off the bat was if you see down here, I'm gonna just move these photos up to the top there. So if you click anywhere within this template, you can click any one of these boxes, and once you see kind of the white dots kind of that go around it, that means that image, I can delete it, I can move it, I can edit anything within there. So one of the first things that I do is I click on the logo and I go to replace that first. So what I've done is I've gone in, there's a couple different ways that you can add in the logo. So I've created my own library of the logos. You can also go under company and you can click on all these different other logos that you want, and there are then provided logos for you. If you want, like if I was putting it in this black, then I might want the Keller Williams. If I wanted it to be in red, I can choose on that. I can choose that one. So you can choose, different logos that you want by going into the company. And if you want to go back, you can just hit those little dots and it takes you back. And under my library, I kind of went in and basically just added in our own logo. And the nice thing is whatever image you've highlighted over here on the right, so in this case, I've highlighted that image. When I go over here to the left in my library, rather than clicking the plus sign, which will now, like I'll show you both ways. If I hit the plus sign, it now brings it in there. It didn't, now I've got to resize it and I've got to move it. If I just undo that, okay, now if I go back, highlight that image, now if I, well, what happened there? Now if I go over to this image here and I click on the replace, what it does, whoop, sorry. Now if I go over here and I, wow, what is going on? I have no idea what's going on there. Sorry, guys. And I click on the little replace logo, it automatically basically resizes and replaces that logo that was already there. So now I can and now it's, you know, it's kind of already in the right spot where I want it. And then I can basically just kind of resize it to what, you know, kind of where I want it. And now it's good. So that's one of the first things that I do. Then this market snapshot. You don't have to fill in all of these little numbers and volume and units and things like that. All you have to do is click on the image. You go over here to the left, you click on KWLS. Up at the top, you have the ability to do one of two things. If I wanted to search a listing in the KW listing system, I can search for a listing. Or in this case, I want to do a snapshot. And the snapshot is not necessarily on a specific property. What a snapshot is on a neighborhood. The neighborhoods are coming from next door. So let's say I wanted to do a neighborhood. Now I can search by two different ways. I can search by the name of the neighborhood, or I can search by a zip code. So in this case, if I wanted to search by, I don't know, we'll say Ocean Pines, see if that's there. So there's a lot of different things that came up for Ocean Pines. So if I just said, all right, I'm going to click on this one for Ocean Pines, what it's going to do is it's going to create 2 to 3 different types of snapshots. And I can choose whichever format I want to use. And then what I can do is then just select on it. So you see this one is like in a horizontal. This one is just a map. This one is really what would replace the existing image because it's going to be a long vertical. So I click on it, I hover over the replace, I select it, and now it just automatically changed it. So now I can make that be an Ocean Pines market snapshot, which is now going to just auto-populate the most current data relative to the average listing price, sold, how many actives, pending, so forth. So now what I might want to do is I'm going to go down here and I'm going to change up the text, right? So what I want to do is I want to highlight the box, I double click in it, and then I basically just I can just back out the text. And then just click out of the image, and that's done. Now, if I wanted to, I can either leave that image in, or I can change it to another image that I might want to use. So if you want to click on, say something else in that, what you can do is you can actually go back and then you can go into your images over here. And again, you can create a library of images, or you can upload images. You can pull them over if you've got them saved onto your computer. You can then upload them and kind of add them into your library of images so that you've got them. So like in here under images in my library, like for example, in my library, I have all sorts of images that I've got saved. I've got headshots, and I've got other images that I've used, maybe some stock photography that I've used to when I've created other posts. So I can select, I can go into here and click on neighborhoods, and this is just stock photography that exists within the designs library. So if I wanted to click on this image, now I can make that the background image if I wanted to. You can use the stock photography, or you can make it whatever you want. So you can upload your own image, or you can use images that are here. So I can either add my own, or you can pull them from Facebook. You can pull them a number of different ways. But let's say I was good with that envelope, or I'm sorry, with this design, and now I'm done. One of the things that I do, I'm going to just bring this screen down a little bit so I can actually work with it. Well, uh-oh, what have I done? Hang on. Uh-oh. I had to get into the Zoom. All right, I got too many things open here. Hold on a second. think I just, oh, there it is. Okay. So one of the first, can you all see my screen again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So one of the first things that I do is I want to actually save it. Okay. So I want to save this. So I'm going to call this an Ocean Pines snapshot. And then I'm going to save it. You want to make sure you save whatever you do work-wise, because you can then go back to it and reuse it if you want, or you can just make minor changes to it if you like the general feel of that design template, and all you want to do is change out the neighborhood snapshot. You don't have to go back and change up everything. You can kind of duplicate and replicate a design template and not have to start over from scratch. So that's a nice little time saver. So now over here on the right-hand side, there's a couple different things that I can do. I can either download it. I can download it as a JPEG, a PNG, or a PDF file. The other thing that I can do is I can share it immediately in Facebook. So if I wanted to share this in Facebook, because I've connected my Facebook account, I click on Facebook, and you don't have to add a message, but if you wanted to add a message, you can. Now, if I hit share, it's going to automatically now bring up my Facebook account, and it's going to ask me where I want to actually share this. So I'm going to say I'm going to share it to my page, and I'm going to share it to any one of these pages that I have created under my personal Facebook account. So I'm going to share this to the Keller Williams Realty Delaware Beaches Facebook account. And now I hit post, and now that post just got shared immediately right into Facebook. So I didn't have to download it and then go into Facebook and upload the image. So it's a real time saver when if you just want to be able to do something quickly and you want to be able to get it up and out. That's a nice thing to be able to do. The other thing, like what I have been doing, you see posts from me have been about like some of our events and so forth that I've been doing. And where I've been kind of going is like under here, under events, or under bold, or under training. And I've been picking obviously some of these templates, and then I go in and work with them. The nice thing is that I've got now a library of saved templates that I've created. And if I like the look of this particular template, if you go down into that lower right-hand corner and you click on the dots and you hit duplicate, I hit duplicate. Now what it did was it just made a copy of it. Now I can go in and actually use that particular template. I kept the old one, right? I didn't want to just change the old one. I wanted to make a copy of it. Now I can go in and make a new one. So same thing on that Ocean Pines. Let's say I liked everything about it. All I really want to do is do a new snapshot for Glen Riddle, or I want to do Sunset Harbor, or I want to do Sunset Island. But I like the look of that template. All I have to do is just create a duplicate. Now I can actually go in and work just with that template, and I don't have to go back and move the logo. I don't have to change any of that. If I'm happy with the background photo, I can leave that. I just have to now change two things, right? I only have to change the snapshot, and I just have to change the text down here. The rest is done. You don't have to change anything else. So that can be a real time saver for you if you want to kind of use that function by doing that duplicate option. And then you can kind of leave the rest of your stuff intact. Because let's say you added your photo in here, it'll just it'll save you from having to start fresh every single time. If you like a template that you've already created, duplicate it. If you've already got your headshot, your logo, your phone number, your contact, your email, your web address, and things like that, and you have it all set up like that, just keep duplicating it and then just overwrite the other things that don't apply. So that's a nice little time saver that early on actually wasn't actually capable. You weren't capable of actually duplicating. Now you can. So I use that function a lot now, because there's usually like one or two things that I need to change. I don't want to change anything else. I just need to make one or two changes. So therefore I'm able to move, kind of move through these much faster. So anyway, so that's kind of just one way to do a design on how you can do a market snapshot. And the nice thing about a market snapshot is, let's say right now, right, if I'm a newer agent, maybe I don't have listings. So I want to promote myself, my brand, and I want to bring something of value. So by bringing something of value, I'm talking about areas where either I live or areas that I want to focus on. And so this is a great way for you to be able to market yourself if you don't have any listings. Because people always want to know how the real estate market is where they live or where, you know, where they may be looking to live. So it's a nice tool for you to be able to use if you don't currently have listings. So that's one nice thing that you can do. The other, I would say, sort of nice one that you can do is, and there's tons of, as you can see here, templates available to you to be able to promote your app. So if I wanted to promote my app, I can actually promote my app by clicking on under the My App, and then I can actually create any one of these designs so that I can encourage people to download my app, because when someone downloads your app, then they are obviously they're going to get sticky, right? Because now they're going to, anytime that they are in the app, they're going to come back to you and they get logged in terms of activity. Once they download the app, you'll actually get notified that they've downloaded your app. And any time that they're in the app, you'll get notified that they're using your app. So you've got tons and tons of design.
Bridget, I have a question.
Yep.
I noticed when you had it up, it had Instagram, but it didn't have anything for Facebook. So you can't use any of these templates on Facebook?
No, well, quite frankly, I've actually used some of these and they actually worked just fine. They worked,
Okay.
I did like the standard one and they worked just fine for Facebook.
Okay.
To be honest with you. I'm not sure why it's not listed up there, but they worked fine when I posted them, when I've used them before for other people doing them on their Facebook. But literally, I mean, you've got 149 different kind of templates here available to you. And kind of the theory behind these templates is, on average, they want to try and keep about 1,000 templates available to our agents. And what they're doing is the marketing department at Keller Williams is tracking the templates that are being most used and the ones that are being least used. And the ones that are being used the least, they're going to sunset those. And they're going to then just introduce new ones. So if you are not super creative and not necessarily a designer by trade, if you will, because I am not. I really like these because I like being able to have the backgrounds and the designs already done, and I only have to kind of change a few things. I'll show you something else that I did recently that I've been utilizing, and I actually did it on this one. It's kind of a cool feature. Because I liked some of these graphics. So like on this particular template, I wanted to create this little kind of header up here, but I was like, I gotta draw a box and I gotta do this text and I gotta do this, that, and the other. So what I did was I went over here and I said, okay, I want to add some text, but I don't want to just free type it in there. You can click on these banners and then they're already like in the font that you see here, or with these little graphic images around them. And so they just kind of add a nice little catchier, more pleasing, grabbing, effect. So if I wanted to like change that one out to this one, I can kind of change that out and replace it, and I can move that up to there. And what I can also do is I can kind of change the background, the background feel to it. I can change up the text font in there. So I can kind of change up everything in and around that kind of box. So it's just a nice kind of way to play with some of these little graphic text elements that exist over here. So that, right, because for me to have to create this box in that font with that little box and that little box, forget it, right? I'd spend an hour doing it where all I had to do was just click on it and then go over here and now just double click in it. And now I can change the text. But the graphic itself, you know, stays the same. So that's just kind of a nice little added piece that I've recently started using is those little kind of graphic elements that exist over there by adding kind of what we call a text banner. And, you know, there's a bunch of different ones, but they're all, what you see written here, that's what's initially going to show up, but you can click on it and change the text. All you have to do is just double click and it gives you a cursor. Then you can actually change the text to be whatever you want. And I can change the color to be whatever I want as well. Okay. So I can change the color of the fill, the backfill, the background. I can also, like if I had a double layer here, I can move things to the front, to the back. I can really kind of go crazy on this stuff, but I try to keep it relatively simple and use the basic design that's there. And then I just kind of add little elements to it. So that's, I guess, a little bit in designs. Does anyone have anything specific that they want to see done or in designs that you had a question on, or if anybody had a challenge, if you were playing with it, what to do or how to do it?
Hey, Bridget, this is Ika. I have a question.
Okay.
I tried to make a postcard and for direct mail.
Yep.
And I designed it on the design and the instructions said that you have to download it, and I did. For the front and back, I downloaded and then I went for the campaign. And then I tried to upload it, but it said that the file is too big. I don't know how you can shrink the size on that of the postcard I just made under design. I could not upload it because it said the file is too big.
Got it. So it sounds like, if I'm understanding correctly, so you went in, you created the design, you selected that you wanted it to be a print, right? A print design. And then you went to go upload it into campaigns, which it sounds like you followed all the right steps, but it gave you an error when you went to upload it saying it wasn't sized appropriately to be able to add it into that.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I have not run into that. However, I can certainly look at that to see, like I've used this one quite a bit, this particular design for a postcard, for a print postcard. And if I were to, let's just say if I wanted to download it, can download that image. And it takes a few seconds for it to actually download. So now if I were to go back to my command, back to my command screen, and now if I were to go into campaigns, and create a direct mail, and create a new campaign. We'll just call this test, and we're going to advertise the listing. So here's where, like if you were doing a postcard, you can do it one of two ways. You can either use the templates that they provide, and if you use the templates that they provide, there's about a half a dozen different templates that you can use, or obviously it gives you the option if you want to download your own template. So in this case, so if we wanted to use our own template, It gives you the sizes down here. Because so I guess I have to look to see, now I got to figure out where where that daggone,
You have to browse, upload the postcard. You just
right.
download.
I got too many things here open, and I can't like move all these windows around. And of course I can't find that one that I just did.
You cannot just click the browse files.
Yeah, I don't know what I called it though. Oh wait, just listed, that's what it is. As my kids keep telling me, I've got way too many things on my laptop, so it's confused. So if I were to, let's just say I wanted to put that one on there. Yeah, so it's basically telling me that it's not sized right. So what I would then want to do is I'd want to then go into the JPEG, and I'd want to open up that JPEG. And what I'd want to do is I'd want to go in and edit that image so that I can actually get it sized appropriately.
Okay.
So that it will actually fit properly into that. And if you noticed, it did give you, it actually gave you kind of the what do you call it? It actually gave you the image sizes to tell you what sizes you needed to
Right.
they needed to be, if dependent on what it was.
Right.
That's a relatively new feature because I don't remember that. The last time I did it, I don't remember that. So that's nice that they actually give you the exact sizes that you need it to be, dependent on, right, whether it's a JPEG or a PDF. So if you want some more help with that, I can also help you kind of go in and resize some things as far as the image size. So I can probably help you further with that because I definitely have done.
And I have another challenge on the campaign. When I use the vault postcard that they have, and I have a problem to go to the next level, the configuration. So I just like been on the draft, but never like actually create to mail that postcard, for instance, to Ocean Pines, and it won't let me to go the next step. So I don't know what I did wrong.
When you use like the default template, you mean?
Yes. Remember when you can pick, and I pick the default, what they have in the campaign, but I cannot go when I use what they have, and I cannot go to the next level.
So what Ika's talking about is, so if she were to click on campaigns and she clicked on direct mail, and if I were to
create a new
campaign, and I said direct mail,
right,
and let's just say I said test, advertise a listing, and I'm going to use the default template provided. What it's going to show me now is it's going to show me a couple different templates. And let's say, Ika, what's the address of your listing here over in Fox Chapel?
10109, but it's, you know what, is I took it off of market though.
Oh, all right.
How about the one in Ocean City?
Okay, what's that?
Okay, 4603 Coastal Highway.
Hey. Can't type today, guys. 842.
Coastal Highway.
Oh, wait a minute, it's on my listings.
So
that's another thing to be kind of cognizant of. So for those of you that are also new, you know, that are relatively new, there is no reason if I wanted to, let's say I have no listings, which I don't, and let's say I wanted to kind of promote myself, and let's say I was doing an open house, or I wanted to try to get my name out there, and I wanted to do some kind of co-marketing with an agent that does have listings, as long as I had their permission. So if I were to ask Ika, would you mind if I were to do a postcard or do an ad on your listing And if, you know, if she gave me permission, there's, you know, you can certainly do that with her, you know, with that permission. And you could then do it under your name if you wanted, and kind of, and basically promote that listing. So this is what I was talking about. So these are basically, you know, you've got lesser choices in as far as the templates that are provided to you in the default template. So let's just say I wanted to go with that one, the 6x11. It's automatically going to populate, right, the listing details, and you can, you know, it's all templated and so forth, as you can see here. And wherever it tells me I need to fill it in, I need to fill it in. So if I was good with all of that, I could save that information. And now I can click on the Market Center. I can click on the logo. Where's my logos? I can click on the logo. And that one's not the right one that's sized appropriately, but let's just say I wanted to Coastal Highway and Ocean City, Maryland. Address, confirm address. So now everything kind of looks right there. I got green lights. And let's say I wanted to pick that photo. Whoop. All right, so it's telling me that these images are too low, the resolution. So therefore, what it may, so if none of these images, that may be why it stopped you, Ika, is because these images are the resolution is too small, is too low.
Too low, okay.
So that may
it won't
be
give
why.
me that kind of notification though. When I click one of the picture, it doesn't tell me if there's a, you know, the picture is low resolution on my computer. So that's weird. Okay.
Yeah, so that one is, I mean, it may let me go on, but I don't know that it will let me necessarily go on. Yeah, it's not going to let me go on unless you actually click on an image that is going to be sized, you know, kind of the right size. I don't know if that one's going to take or not.
Okay.
I don't know if that one's going to be high enough. All right, so that one kind of took. And let's just say, hypothetically, that one was right. So now I got the green arrow there. So as long as you've got the green check marks there, now you can basically go on kind of to the next step, and it'll allow you to then create the campaign. Now it's going to ask you where you want it mailed to and so forth. So it's just, so you've got to make sure that all of these things are obviously configured right before you can obviously keep moving on to the next step. So I don't know if that was why it got hung up, why it didn't give you the notification, I'm not sure. But if you don't have green check marks in all of those boxes, it won't even let you get to the next step. And now if I was...
Actually, I did have all that green check.
Okay.
And then I never get to this step. I was blank on my computer all the time. Right. So I don't know what I did wrong.
Okay, well, if you want, we can certainly, we don't necessarily, I mean, we don't necessarily have to do it right now on this call, but if you'd like, you can, if you want, you can, if you want to schedule a time with me, I'm happy to walk through it with you and actually kind of look at your screen while we're logged in on your account. And then I can look at it. It'll be easier for me to troubleshoot it if we're like in your account and I can see it.
Okay. Thank you.
But this is basically, these are the steps that you would go through if I was using a default template. I get to this point, I can see the front, I can see the back preview, and it gives me the summary, and then I can basically pay for it. And then what happens is it would then get mailed out through, you know, through real mailers. So I can see what the preview of the front and back of the postcard would be. And obviously it's going to be auto-filling from my marketing profile. So whatever I've got, you know, whatever I've got programmed in as far as my contact information, that's what's going to fill in there. Okay. And obviously on this one, even though we're in my account, because it's your listing, it pulled over your listing information. I could have gone in and edited that if I wanted to. Like I could have made it come from me, but I just didn't change any of that information in this particular example. But because it was your listing, it pulled over your contact information.
Yeah. And it's so weird. You don't have to changing the wording, because I have to change it because it's too big.
It was too much text.
It's too much text. Yeah.
You had to
cannot have all
condense it.
that. But yours, you can. I mean, yours is kind of just right on that postcard. But on mine, I have to change it only 500 to word. I mean, or 500 letter.
Oh.
Because this is kind of like about 750 or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if any of you have experienced that. I when I've created landing pages before, you're limited to the text, and therefore, if you're getting any errors when you're going to create a landing page and you're using those widgets, if you've got too much text in one of those fields, it won't allow you to publish it until you go in and reduce and actually reduce some of the text that you've got in there. And it gives you the word count. However, you have to be really thoughtful about getting right to the point and not maybe getting as flowery and lengthy as you might otherwise be. So what else can I share with anyone? Anything? Nothing? Nada? Nothing? Everyone's quiet. Everyone's like in Zoom coma.
No, it's good stuff. And actually, it's because when I've played in it, Bridget, it's at times it's just like there's so many options. So one of the things that has changed that I'm glad to see, because I ran into that too, because I was playing around with uploading my own images, and I like that they've at least now start putting in sort of like the minimum requirements or the max. So because when I was starting to play around with it, there wasn't any message, and I figured as much. I had to play around with them.
Oh, so now it's an easier guide to follow.
Yeah, they're definitely
character limits.
Yeah, they're definitely. It seems like they're moving as far as updating command with the features and the things people need. Because this led me down to the rabbit trail of jumping on some other Facebook pages like a Lab Agents and Nick Baldwin with Command Your Conversion, because all the guys are just tech heads. So it's pretty neat to see what they're doing.
Yeah, so I will share with you. So if any of you, since you just mentioned Nick Baldwin, so Nick and I had a conversation yesterday and the day before. Nick is going to be one of our guest speakers in a couple of weeks.
Awesome.
And we've got Tristan Ahumada, his partner, next week. So Tristan Ahumada is going to be our guest speaker next week, and he's going to walk us through smart plans. So he's going to walk us through, we've got him for an hour and a half. He's going to have his tech on the call with us. He's going to walk us through the benefits, how to, and then he's also going to share with us some smart plans that he's actually created, and he's going to share them with us so that you can actually use them if you want to actually use them. He'll give us kind of a library of some smart plans where he's actually already set up the intervals and things of that nature in the text and the content. So he's going to provide us he's going to be on with us next week, next Wednesday. And then Nick Baldwin, we were originally having Nick here in person on the 2nd of June. And because of what we're facing, we're moving it to a virtual. So we're just getting him scheduled for a new date to be with us virtually. And what I've asked him to focus on is campaigns, but specifically what I've asked him to do is talk about leveraging and working your website and using AdWords and running AdWord campaigns to help promote and direct traffic to your site is what I've asked him to kind of focus on.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, so I'm trying to kind of obviously mix it up in terms of who we're bringing on and what I'm having them each talk about, right? I don't want them all to be talking about the exact same thing. And my goodness, Nick and Tristan are fantastic, and they are great to and you can go to Facebook. They basically are the founders of a kind of a group called the Lab Coat Agents. And it's actually really advantageous and beneficial to us because they are kind of like in the ground level and have insight and intel from Google and Facebook. And if you've gone on to some of their Zooms and some of their live casts that they share, you get all these bigwig folks that are kind of bringing the latest and greatest on how to utilize some of these tools at a really high level. So yeah, so I had reached out to both of them and engaged to obviously work with us. So what I'm sharing with you right here, this is something that I've been doing a bunch of lately for agents to help promote their listings, is create a custom landing page for them. And basically all I did was just build it where I pulled in the market snapshot. Then this next widget was on the listing. The next widget was a video. So the next one down was a video. I brought over the agent profile. Then I brought over the download my app. And then I brought out a contact form, right? So if I'm going to promote this URL and I could do a Facebook ad, I could promote this URL a number of different places, but you've got to give people an opportunity to contact you, right? You've got to capture their information. So this is a nice way to capture the information is by doing that. So I've got a bunch of them saved in here, and kind of one of the nice features that you can do in here is you can actually, you see here where I actually renamed the URL to make it a URL per the listing. So I was able to actually customize that and tailor that, as opposed to just having it be this gobbledygook URL here. I was able to actually personalize it to be able to, number one, kind of identify it, but number two, when it's up here in the URL, you see the listing property address in there. And they don't take long to create those landing pages. You can create a new one pretty easily, create the page, create it as a standalone page. This is like one of the newest features that I've also been playing around with a lot. And all you do is you just drag and drop. You drag and drop. So you can pick any one of these or all of them if you wanted. I kind of followed, actually Nick, as a matter of fact, Nick Baldwin had a Zoom, I don't know, 10 or 15 minute Zoom on how to create a landing page. And I just followed all of his steps. And I built the landing pages that I have created and built were literally just like the ones that he did. So the first one that I did was I kind of brought over the market snapshot. You just click on it, you drag it over, and now I can go and personalize it. And you go and personalize it by going down and you go configure widget. You click on the new market snap. You can say, you can rename it. I can change the zip code. And now what it's going to do is it's going to give me a bunch of different communities that fall within that zip code. Okay. So if I
Bridget, could I interrupt a minute?
Yeah.
When you say you just bring it over and you just click on the snapshot, do you have to have the snapshot created somewhere, or are you creating
it? Was already done. It was already done. So this is literally what I dragged over. All I did was just drag it over, and this was a preset neighborhood snap that was already done. But as you can see, it's for Barton Hills. So therefore, I need to now change it to be the neighborhood that I want to actually showcase here. So I type in a header, which is going to replace up here. I type in the zip code, and then it's going to bring you a variety of neighborhoods that fall into that zip code. I hit save and apply, and you're going to notice it's going to change.
No, I understand that, but when you say you just pull it over, so you created the snapshot first, and then where?
Nope.
So you created here in this.
It's all here. It's all done.
How does it get there, though, if it doesn't know what their listing is going to be?
That's where you go in and configure it.
Okay, so down at the bottom, you're configuring the.
That's it. That's it.
That's where you're putting it in.
Exactly.
And then it goes into those boxes. Okay.
Right. So if I click on listing and I drag it over, now it's going to take a second. Now I can see that, right, my template was updated. I scroll down, it brought over a listing. It brought over this listing template, but for this property. So now I need to
Okay.
go in and I need to configure that. So now I need to go back and I need to configure that listing. So
But to
now
get
I
it
go in and
started in the beginning, you have to configure the widgets all to get in the beginning?
you configure it as you're building your landing page.
Okay,
Whatever widgets you bring over, you configure each one of them.
as you go.
They're already pre-done and pre-designed. All you're doing is configuring the ones that you want to use for your, for your specific,
Okay,
for the specific neighborhood or listing that you're, that you're doing there. So in
Okay.
this one, I don't know, it's probably going to bring up a bunch of different things here, but let's just, I don't know. Let's say, I don't know if it's going to bring up Ocean Pines. All right, let's just select that one. So here I'm currently configuring the listing widget. I've selected 99 Ocean Parkway. I can either pull the listing photo over from the listing, or I can upload a custom image. But let's just say I want to take the one from the listing. Now I hit save and apply. You're going to notice that this is going to change screens on the left.
okay,
And all it's doing is pulling from the MLS. It's pulling in a map. So it's showing where that property is. Go down to that listing. There's that listing photo that you see there. Now it's bringing me all the information about that property. Details, features, shows me a larger map on that particular listing. And you can keep building the landing page to whatever kind of widgets you want to use. Obviously, nowhere in here yet have I said anything about the agent, right? So probably the next thing that I want to do is I want to add in something about me, the agent. So there's two different ways you can do it. I can either do agent branding, or I can do your local expert. So I'm going to do your local expert. I bring that over. Now you'll see as I scroll down, that's my profile that it pulled over from my marketing profile in Command.
And Bridget, you have to bring that widget, the new widget, to the bottom of the page that you just finished,
Right.
correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because depending on where you drag it, if I drag it to the bottom right, it's going to make it follow that one above it. If I bring it up to the upper right, it's going to put it in above it. So you can move these around. You can kind of move the panels, the tiles, as I refer to them. You can move them up and down once you've already got them kind of in place. But I just kind of build it as I go, and I kind of place them where I want to place them. Now you'll notice, let's say I was done with this landing page. It's not going to let me publish it. And the reason being is there's way too much text in here. So it's going to not allow me to publish it because it's going to make me go back and it doesn't even give me the option to publish it. And the reason being is because I've got to configure it. And it's going to, if I go back here, you see how it didn't give me a green it filled in circle. It's because it's not currently meeting the guidelines. And I think, Stephen, it was you who was saying it. Like over here, here's these character limits and limitations. So you can see here, I've got way too much text. If you click on that, if you kind of take down in that bottom corner, you can then drag it down. And then let's just say I only really wanted kind of that top paragraph. I can basically delete the rest. Now I'm compliant there. The other place there, I can never remember my, Julie knows this because we did this before. I can never remember my app link. But you have to put something in there. Anything with a red asterisk, you have to fill in. Now you'll see here, this last box is over the limit. So that one would be the other one that I would need to kind of reduce. What you might put in this legal footer, you see a lot of agents that will include in that legal footer the CIS statement for those that are licensed in Delaware. If you are in Maryland, you might include something about the consumer information statement. So you can include, there's no rule that says you have to include that language about the CIS or the consumer information statement. That just tends to be what a lot of agents do include, okay? You don't have to use it, but it is one that people do often use. Something else that at least Keller Williams agents tend to use is each office is independently owned and operated. That would be another one that, you know, some agents use. Now, if I hit save and apply now, you see what happened? That now isn't grayed out anymore for publish page. Now all of my widgets, I should have, they all have a green circle. Now I'm able to publish that page. So now I can publish that page. And now what it's going to do is it's going to create a unique URL. You'll see it right there. And now see what I'm talking about, like that gobbledygook at the end there? If I click on those right arrows and I want to change the URL, I can basically, I can't change the front part of it, but I can change this last part. And let's say I wanted to call it Pines. Now you're going to see that custom URL just changed. So now I just changed that custom URL. And now if I wanted to promote that URL, right, I can now click on it. I can put it in a Facebook ad. I can post it just on its own into Facebook. I can put it in a postcard. I could put it on a flyer. I can put that URL wherever I want. So if I'm advertising a particular listing, I can create now a nice custom website for every single one of my listings pretty quickly, right? So now here's that landing page that you can see, and it's all not, you know, it's a nice presentation of, you know, of that particular listing or that particular neighborhood. So it's a quick, kind of easy way to put it together, and it looks really nice and professional. And I didn't create any of it, right? All I did was just configure it, but I didn't do any of the creation. So these are nice tools, but you know, I mean, I didn't, obviously, I think it was it you, Stephen, that said, there's a lot, right? There's a lot that you, right? There's a lot that that's available to you. And
it's actually over. It's a good thing. I mean, it's overload, but it's because for someone like me, you start playing with something and you're like, oh, 2 hours later, you're like, oh, I want to try the next one. But the one thing that is really exciting that Keller, at least for someone like me, from my background, is, you know, clients that we would charge to build their web pages, or the people that would pay for like WordPress portals to do everything. If I can just tell the agents what you're getting for your technology fee, I mean, it's a steal what Keller Williams is providing. It really is. Just the ability to market yourself in so many different ways that in the past you would be paying so much money.
It is a lot, and you just have to. What's the phrase? Carol's maybe used it before, right? I never heard it before. I only heard it when I came to Keller Williams. There's something about what we offer. There's always a lot, right? And they always say, "How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time."
No, my wife just actually had a project she's working on. Just used that the other day, and it's getting to the point where I've actually. Carol, when we were talking about time blocking, I mean, just because I was consuming so many hours just playing, and I'm like, you know, I've gotten to the point now where I have to say, okay, half hour here, go play, you know, then force myself off. Otherwise, I'm not doing the things I should be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions, thoughts I can help with that you want to see? Did I kind of cover some of the things you were hoping to at least see, Carol?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Mike and I were taking it through, but I knew you were really great at this, and that's why I was hoping that you could jump on and give us some of the hands-on things. And so everybody knows there is a command class on designs, actually, tomorrow at 9 a.m. So that is good for you guys to jump on so that you can do more particular about your own personal stuff. And that will help you and walk you through. And I hear April is amazing with it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, I've taken it. It's awesome.
So
For sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously I kind of jumped around. I wasn't like, I'd have to, if I was actually teaching it in a class, I would be I'd be much better.
Oh, no. But you gave us all the condensed, you gave us enough to whet our appetites to
Yeah.
say, I can do this. And now if I go and sit and listen at designs, it's like, okay, I can make this happen. So thank you. And we appreciate you coming in and taking care of this with us.
Yeah, well, quite frankly, I feel like I was, can be helpful too. Like Julie and I just sort of did it on one of her listings, and Ika, if I can help you in that regard too, like when you actually have a real live kind of example situation where you want to create either a Facebook ad or a landing page or something for us to, jump on together, I'm happy to do that. And then you get to really use it, right? And it's a real live kind of example for you to put it into action as opposed to just kind of playing around with it, right? It's something that you want to do and want to promote, want to advertise. And then it maybe means something a little different as opposed to just testing it out. We can actually really kind of go through it together. And we learned some things as we were going through it. What did you learn in particular, Julie? I want to say on the Facebook, we learned you have to be she got it kicked back because there was the word in the ad. Yeah.
Yeah, it gives you a a guide that you're supposed to, when you're doing your landing page, you should mention landmarks and things like that. So, the property's on the Assawoman Bay. So it's not Rehoboth Bay, it's Assawoman Bay. So I made mention of that and it got kicked back and we couldn't figure out why. And I'm like, it's the name of the bay. And sure enough, as soon as I removed it, it went through. So
yeah, now that wasn't KW kicking it back. That was Facebook.
That was
rejecting
Facebook.
It.
Yeah.
Facebook rejected it for that reason. So that was kind of that was a learning exercise that I hadn't encountered.
Yep.
As of that point. So. And that's actually really a really good kind of exercise too that we did was we were trying to be really strategic about when we were building that Facebook ad, because I think that some people had tried some of these Facebook ads early on, and then they started to discount them to say, oh, the leads are just junk, they're not really quality leads. However, what I've been learning and finding is, like anything, right? You can't just throw it up and expect it to stick. You've got to be thoughtful about what it is that you're doing. So in her case, that was a listing. It was $1 million plus listing. And initially the target, right? So let's think about it, right? If we were going through that Facebook ad campaign, the initial target audience that it defaulted to in the system was right around that property. Well, on a property on the Assawoman Bay in South Bethany, it's likely not going to be a buyer that's in South Bethany, likely. So I was trying to think, okay, so where would that buyer be coming from? So therefore, when I selected the target audience, we said, okay, so let's think about where people are coming from. What's the kind of population that is, generally speaking, buying and living in and around that South Bethany area? So if they're coming within 50 miles of, say, Rockville, Maryland, that was the town that I selected, and I said 50 miles out from there, which 50 miles out from Rockville was a pretty, that was a pretty good audience. And now you're targeting a much better audience to be able to run that Facebook ad. So therefore, people that are going to see it are maybe more likely to be interested in that specific property. So you just got to be thinking about, right, who your target audience is based on what it is you're marketing, right? If I was marketing property in Seaford, well, of course I would want to market to Seaford people. I wouldn't be wanting to market to out-of-state people. So you've got to just think about it from that standpoint, coupled with the fact that there's an interest section, and Nick gives some really good tips and pointers on the interests that you select there. You really want to be cognizant about the interests that you select. If it's in a boating community or if it's on the water, you would want to select an interest on either boating, or if it's in a golf course community, you'd want to select golf because that's likely going to attract people that are in golf, or maybe it's health and wellness. So you want to select those interests, and each one of those interests, what it does is it'll actually show you population-wise the volume of people that actually would be searching for things that fall into those interest levels. So needless to say, it was, it's definitely one of those things where you don't want to just put it out there and spend $25 and go, oh, it worked or it didn't work. You really want to be kind of cognizant about what you're selecting in terms of your target, your radius, and those interest levels. So that was another thing. I mean, if you're going to spend the money, make sure you're spending the money in the right way. Okay, I'm done.
Okay.
All right. Okay,
We
I
are
got to jump
pretty
on
good.
another call. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Bridget.
It's Red Day
Thank
tomorrow. It is Red Day tomorrow. So if you don't have a Red Day shirt, I have my Red Day shirt on. I'm not stripping, Mike Maykrantz. I'm just showing you my Red Day shirt. See my Red Day shirt? So I'm wearing my Red Day shirt. So we are, so tomorrow is Red Day. Make sure if you don't have a Red Day shirt, make sure you wear a red shirt and take a picture of yourself, because Scarlett is going to put together a video photo collage. And so take a picture, post it on Facebook, and we're going to kind of take all the photos and we're going to put together a collage. We are making our deliveries tomorrow to 7 different organizations. We're hitting, we're delivering to Middletown, Milford, Seaford, Georgetown, Bethany, Ocean City, and Salisbury. So we're trying to hit all the areas where we serve, and we have raised we will have raised about $2,800, maybe closer to $3,000 now, and we're matching that. So we'll have $6,000 to be able to share among those organizations, and we've collected food items and gift cards. So I think we're going to have some happy recipients tomorrow in terms of the local pantries and shelters. So thank you to all of you that have helped and in that endeavor. And I'm looking forward to being part of the delivery process tomorrow, and hope we'll capture it. And obviously not quite the way we would want to spend Red Day. We would obviously typically all want to gather and be together for Red Day. However, this is a way that we can give back and participate and help in our local communities. So thank you to all of you.
Bridget, 2 quick questions. One, are you all set as far as the marketplaces between Bethany and City, as far as the people you need to actually do the deliveries?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so that's okay. Just want to make sure in case I needed help. And then number 2, for those who did order Red Day shirts, like, were they delivered to the office or whatever? Because I'm thinking with this whole COVID thing that we probably may have ordered them, but there's a good chance they never came down.
So I know at least in Delaware, Charlene did not place an order because she was a little nervous about, do I place the order and then we don't have anything? And she had to have placed the order like a month ago. So I don't believe that, at least in Delaware. Now I can't say the same thing for Maryland, but in Delaware that order was not placed. So, but
Not a
yeah,
problem.
a red shirt certainly works.
Red shirt and a name tag.
There you go. Or you could like paint. You could get really creative and paint it on there. Fabric paint.
By next year, Designs will let you do your own T-shirt.
Right.
Your body paint, isn't that allowed by the company policy?
What's that?
Body paint?
Body paint. Yeah. I won't even tell you that story about myself. So I'll
Wait,
save that
can you
for
tell us
another
about that? We're interested in hearing about that.
day. Yeah, no way. 20 years ago. More than 20 years ago. So, all right, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Thanks.
Carol, I think I see how I can share the screen back, but I don't know where we are.
Okay, I'll get there in 1 minute.
All right.
Did you share the screen back?
I can if you want me to.
Yes, please.
Boom. Can you see it?
Let me see. Yes, I'm at the things are heating up in Gem Heights. Okay, so go past that. Go past. Go past. We did all this. Go past. Past. Okay. So we are now at pretty much the closing of it, Michael. Bridget took care of all those things that we needed to do. This is where we get to the point where we're going to talk about the aha moments that we had. You, as the leader of this meeting, can do your close on what you want to do, and then I'll take it from the ahas, and then we'll be out of here on time. We didn't get a break, so I want to get you out of here a little bit early, just in case you have to run to the bathroom. So go ahead, Michael.
What do you want me to cover? Elemental goals to set your career on fire? Scripts? Role play?
No, we're all good with that. We're all good with that. I don't follow through all that stuff. I do that in a different way with them, unless we needed to fill in some time. And since Bridget took up a lot of time and gave us a lot of valuable information, I am really at the end. So what I need you to do is, if there's anything that you want to say to finalize, not necessarily from this, but on what if you can capitalize what to you the marketing is, what really works for you, and what suggestions as newer agents that you have for them to get moving.
I think what's different now than when I started in the business is that there's teams. You know, there was no teams for years and years. You know, I know Keller's based around teams, but if you're a new agent starting off, you know, even though the split may be, you know, low and it seems like you're, you know, giving away all your money, it may be something to consider to jump on board with a team, because one of their main functions would be to provide marketing, and you're certainly going to get more traction and more reach through a team, you know, with their marketing abilities and the money they're spending and things like that. So Keller does offer a lot of free options for you, but as you can see, it takes time. You've got to build it, stuff like that. But there is a lot there that you can take advantage of. It's just like Bridget said, you know, drinking from a fire hose. I mean, it's just, Keller's just pushing out new stuff every day, which helps you. But the one thing I saw, daily success habits, like we've been doing this Zoom ALC meeting every morning. And I know this has been a tough time, you know, because everyone's out of their element, stuff like that. But I really think it's important to stay on a schedule and being in business for yourself. That's a tough thing to do, because you can easily get off course or redirected or distracted. And that's a whole new level when you're at home and you've got kids and you're trying to do everything else. But I feel like as a whole, to be successful in real estate, you have to have yourself on a schedule. And there's a couple of people like Michael Moore, who's big on time blocking. And that's a thing if you ever enroll in Boulder, maybe you've already taken it, to try to time block yourself to do lead generation, maybe build in, you know, a webinar during the day for an hour, some sort of educational component, because in this business, you always have to be learning, and it's certainly moving quicker now than it ever has in the past. And, you know, talk to agents, attend functions, whatever you can do, because this is what makes you a stronger agent. And this is what will separate you from the other. I mean, there's a 85% fail rate within the first 3 businesses of being a realtor. And that's tough. You know, luckily through the years, you know, I had a full-time career, and I worked full-time in real estate, and I realized that that's a tough thing to do. And I retired 2 years, and, you know, that's my only job now is real estate. And, you know, you got to stay disciplined to that. It's easy to get off track. It's easy to get distracted, but to be successful, you really have to commit to a schedule, and obviously have downtime, have time for you to recharge, reinvigorate, to keep yourself fresh and keep yourself moving forward. But you are working for yourself. You are a business owner. That's a big thing that Keller has pushed and marketed toward, which is something that, you know, I never really was exposed to before within the other brokerages, and maybe you came from another brokerage as well. But, you know, treat it like that. You're a business owner. You've got to be responsible for your own schedule. You got to develop your own marketing. You know, you have to have your own CRM systems in place. There is a lot to it, but I feel like with helping just like this Ignite Class Bowl, things like that, and being a partner with Keller Williams, that you're going to have a far greater chance of being successful and, you know, build the big life that Keller, you know, markets to everyone. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. I'd be glad to share everything. I don't have all the answers, but I've tried a lot of things that haven't worked, and I've tried some things that do work. And that's based on years of experience with other agents, you know, that have done it. They've tried it, like Carol. She's done everything. She's been on billboards, shopping carts, buses, posters at the post office. I mean, she's done it all. Just kidding, girl. But anyway, good luck to everybody. If you need anything, give me a call. Appreciate the opportunity. It's my first time as an instructor. I enjoyed it. Learned something every time I'm along with everyone. So be safe, stay home. You know the deal. Keep plugging.
Michael, thank you a lot. In addition, Mike, you forgot to mention they have me as their coach.
Oh, well, you still, they may have a chance of still making it. You know, they have that limitation, but,
Okay. So taking this to the next level, guys, you have with Command so many facets, and a lot of us with Command, it does get overwhelming. I've talked probably 4 agents off the ledge in the past few days because number one, I think we're all tired. We've been in most of March, been in all of April, and now we're going to probably be in somewhat most of May. So with that understanding, you guys got a heavy dose of urgency for technology. You did not have the ability as a new agent to be able to be in the offices and actually talk and interact with people and go to classes where you could personally interact with people and ask questions when you were in the middle of something like other agents have had that luxury. You guys, kudos to you, had to jump in and embrace the technology because that's the only way we could communicate and keep this. I had to learn a brand new course with Ignite and how to teach it over the Zoom and keep you guys engaged and keep coming back. So kudos to you. Kudos to you for jumping in, embracing what we need to do, and not falling out. I mean, we have 0 fallout rate of everybody that's been on these classes that have been involved. I really thought we might get some because of the technology, because of the saturation that we had to do. And you guys are awesome as far as I'm concerned. I enjoy working with you guys. I think you all are really going to be winners. You are all intent on what you're doing, and keep up that good work. So I have a few more minutes for anybody that wants to bring in a couple of ha-has on what they got out of this course today and what they are going to take and do. My first one, I'll give you my ahas. I'm going to do a landing page. I want to do a landing page, and I want to use some of those great templates for my Facebook. I haven't really done it. Like I've told you many times about leverage. Once you get things going and you have systems, that's when you start leveraging and hire people to do certain things so that you can do the things that you do best, whether it's lead gen or marketing or out in front of somebody. So with that being said, I'm going to play around with that. That's one of my commitments for the next day or so. So who has another aha? Quiet? You guys are never quiet.
I thought it was amazing what I learned today. It was stuff I didn't know that you could do. And thank you for everybody that.
Cool. Anybody else?
Hey, Carol, this is Joy. So I have a pretty strong marketing background, and when Michael was going through all the things that you could do, we always said that nobody has the finances, or very few people do, to do everything, to boil the ocean. But there is a fine line between not doing enough and making sure that your touch points are out there, and how do you get recognized, 2-3 times a week until you get your name out there and people understand that you're new to the area, or you're I'll say starting, so nobody knows who you are. So how do they get to know you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was something that I kept thinking about, is there's that fine line on there of not spending your whole year's budget on something just to get your name out there, but doing enough of it.
Right, and that's the thing. When we did our advertising in the newspaper, we used to take out a half a page in the newspaper. That was a $1,500 expense for 1 day exposure. But in the marketplace that we were in South Jersey, and the time that we were in that market, if I wasn't on that front page where the real estate section opened up and they saw our office, I lost traction. So it was a big nut to crack every time, but it was something that I committed to, and we did it. And that's what, but now with the way technology is and the way we have all these things available to us through command with our landing pages and our Facebook ads, we can literally put together Facebook ads that look so professional that, and as many agents as we have from Keller Williams, they don't look boilerplate. And that was one of my concerns with everything going into command. Am I going to look like every other Keller Williams agent and we're just like all being the same? And that don't happen because they have so many options in there with so many options to make it your own self and put your own personality into it. So that's another thing that I'm really coming when I'm diving into more of the marketing that command allows us to do, that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let the marketing gurus do what they're doing and take that and then just fine tune it to match. The other thing was I heard a lot of people that were upset about the way the websites came through with command that you get for free or for your small portion that you pay on your monthly bill. But after I showed people, after I looked into it a little bit more and got the background of why they came up with the templates they did, is because if you look at Remax.com, if you look at Zillow.com, if you look at Redfin.com, you look at Realtor.com, the first screen that comes up is the search button so that people don't have to go through 10 pages to find out where their search is. And that's why Keller Williams did it the same way. Because let's face it, websites became almost like a book about the agent and so many things. And then they added 10 pages on the activities or what to do. And what was happening was the theory back 10, 15 years ago was make your website have so much information in there, there's no need for them to go anywhere else. The only problem is the websites became so overpacked that it took by the time the buyers got to where they needed to go to find a house or an address or info on a particular house, they lost them because it was 10 clicks in. Now, the way our websites are set up, it's the first thing in, but it's also branded to you, and your app could be right there too. So they can click on your app and download it. So I think that's the huge things that I'm looking at from Keller Williams, and that you guys as new agents can highly leverage yourself. You don't focus that you're new in the area. Focus that you're here. Focus on how big Keller Williams is. Focus on the market share that Keller Williams has in the particular area that you're working. Focus on that. And then your personalities will come through, and your other life experiences will come through, and your business will follow. So with that being said, scripts, I don't think as a group conscious, we didn't decide what we wanted to go over on Friday for our weekly coaching class. How about, my thinking was, how about we do some role playing? Because we have missed out on a lot of scripts. I could send everybody out a script book. Actually, you have your script books in Ignite, in your Ignite tools, and pull them out because it has a whole different varying ideas for sale by owners, geographic farming, circle prospecting, things like that. Do you want to do some script role playing on Friday?
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
Okay. So if we could all get together Friday, 9:30, and remember the link for our Friday meetings is the same that we've always had. I will send it out again to all, but save that in your appointment so that you can just click on the link for the Zoom meeting. Okay?
The bold pivot class has been moved to Friday instead of Thursday.
Yes, Mike. What is it?
The bold pivot class, a lot of people are signed up for. It's normally on Thursday, but because of Red Day tomorrow, they moved it to Friday.
Yeah, I think it's Friday. It's 2 to 4.
Yeah.
And we're 9:30 to 11.
All right.
Okay. We all good? Anybody have any final words before I let you out early? I'm the kind of teacher you like, right? All right, guys. Take your extra time to go do something relaxing. And don't go on a Zoom meeting right now. Take a break.
Have lunch.
Thank
Have
you.
lunch. Go to the
Bye.
bathroom.
Thank you,
Thank
Michael.
you.
See you
Don't
all
go above the
soon.
bridge.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank
Carol.
you, Michael.
There you guys.
Thank you.